All right, so hi once again. Today I'm back, and I was planning on doing a video about the spiritual aspect of unification, but I feel the need today to talk about Einstein's equation regarding energy, equaling mc squared at 5.37727868 times 10 to the 41 joules per second. The solution to this problem seems to be correct with respect to how science has made advancements and everything. However, I see problems with this, specifically the c squared portion of the equation. You see, there's no such thing as a velocity of c squared in our universe or galaxy, in three-dimensional reality. So I'm wondering how we came up with this, how Einstein came up with the velocity of c squared, the velocity of light squared. Um, Virtually everything in this equation is energy. Mass is energy, and light is energy. So yeah, E does equal mass times capacitance squared, or the velocity, the uh, uh, the accelerating velocity of light. So if c squared is not a valid velocity in three-dimensional reality, then how come it works in the equation? And the answer to that is the equation, the terms themselves do not really answer legitimately what's happening. But more so than that, he should have put the absolute value of c squared, since there's no value of c squared in our universe with respect to scientific knowledge with the standard model. So with this equation, we're going to have to put these brackets for the absolute value around the c squared, and basically around the whole equation, because it is really the absolute value of this entire equation. But more so than that, we're going to have to change the equation, because we can't just put an absolute value there and not have a reason for putting it there, right? So now we have to come to a solution to, well, what can we make to equal c squared? And so the absolute value of c squared turns out to be something that you wouldn't expect. All right, so what we have here, this part of the equation is 9.99999. There's 11 nines after the decimal point, times 10 to the 99. That is the maximum expansion of time and energy, times 1 times 10 to the negative 99, which reflects the maximum contraction of time and energy. And we square that, and the answer to this equation squared is 100 times the velocity of light, divided by the bandwidth of white light. And so the equation, so now we have to find, okay, well, so what's the bandwidth of white light? And the bandwidth of white light is the maximum contraction of time and space, or time and energy, multiplied, or expansion of time and energy, multiplied by the maximum contraction of time and energy, divided by the velocity of light. And that's given in a measurement of nanometers, and it happens to be 3.32969776615 times 10 to the negative 7 meters, or 332.969776615 nanometers. So now we get to the velocity of light, which has been termed as c, which is, in my opinion, equal to the base frequency of 432 hertz, which is the music scale A in the Pythagorean scale of music. And you take that square in hertz multiplied by the wavelength at 5,280 divided by 300, or 3.281, which happens to be 432 squared hertz times 1.609265468 kilometers as the wavelength. So see, the velocity of light is equal to 300,000, 327, 558.7 meters per second. So the standard, moving forward, the standard atmospheric model ratio, which I have deemed AM for Earth, is equal to 1. And the reason for that is we're taking this value here, 6.1078978182 kilometers, times the value of Earth's atmospheric pressure, that the cube root of the value of Earth's atmospheric pressure in kilopascals, which is 1 kilopascal, divided by 6.1078978182 kilometers. And that's this part of the equation here represents the standard model of Earth, that's given by Earth, and this part of the equation here represents the target mass. But we're using Earth as a standard model, so you see this number, which represents or reflects Earth's atmospheric height from sea level to the beginning of the troposphere, and the measurement in pressure that is measured at 1 kilopascal is over the target mass, over the target mass's atmospheric height average. So because most of the targets that we have don't have a sea level, so we have to find some sort of average. And so Earth's atmospheric multiplier is equal to 1, which is the standard model, which I'm saying is the standard model. but when you hear what I'm saying, the scientific community will say that, well, Dave, since you've never set foot in a physics class, we're going to have to say that you're a crackpot. However, you're going by a model that's saying that there's a velocity of c squared here in the universe, which there's no evidence for that. So I'm questioning who the crackpots are. So also moving forward, we have a phase angle, which is given by this sign here, at maximum power of 90 degrees is equal to pi over 2 radians, and that's going to be important in the equation. So moving forward, the standard atmospheric pressure per linear meter is given by the equation, or my equation, the atmospheric multiplier, which for Earth is equal to 1, divided by 1 cubic meter, or 1 divided by 3.281 cubed, which happens to be 0.02831270141 kilopascals per meter. So if we take the atmospheric height equal to 6.1078978182 kilometers, and we multiply that by this number here, this is the answer to 1 divided by 1 cubic meter. That's this number right here. So that times 1 cubic meter multiplied by Earth's atmospheric height in kilometers is equal to the atmospheric height. So you can see, and if you take your calculators out, you'll find this to be true. So this times this times this, which is the same as this, and is equal to this. So the phase angle of light to pressure per linear meter ratio is equal to the atmospheric multiplier times pi divided by 2 times 1 meter cubed. So we have pi over 2 times 1 divided by 3.281 cubed. And so that comes to this equation here. It is AM pi divided by 2 times 3.281 cubed, which is equal to 0.04437 or 7348738 kilopascals per meter at the phase angle equal to 9 degrees maximum power. So when I say maximum power, I mean that maximum power is a function of the electromagnetic duty cycle, with 45 degrees at 50% of the wave efficiency, or minimum power. So moving forward, We have a wavelength average, and that's given by this symbol, average, equal to 18,122,425.45 meters. And that's given by this equation here, which we're going to have to define later, and I'm going to have to explain to you because science has no idea what these three terms mean. And these other terms here are not the same terms as what science shows them as. So I look at them as, I just put them something different for my own thing. I have no problem with science's version. So the wavelength average is equal to the square root of the radius of Earth times one atmosphere, one atmospheric unit, one astronomic unit times one universal unit, and I'll explain these later, times one galactic unit, and times one light unit, times the orbital period, times the orbital velocity, times the rotational period, times the rotational velocity, all divided by one universal unit times one galactic unit times one rotational period times the velocity of rotation. And so here we come with the terms that the radius is the radius of Earth at 6,392,800 meters. And AU equaling an astronomical unit equal to 149,661,687,600 meters. And so then we have the orbital period at 31,536,000 seconds. So then with that we have the orbital velocity at 29,818.3700081184 meters per second, and is absolutely necessary to use every single digit after the decimal point, or you'll get the incorrect answer. So the period of rotation, the rotational period is at 86,400 seconds. And the rotational velocity is at 464.897,535.0896 meters per second. So UU is what I'm calling the universal unit, and that's at 755,932,953,600 light years, and that we take the absolute value of this in our equations. One light unit is at 300,327,558.7 light years. And again, we take the absolute value of that number in our equations. And I'll give you the reason, my opinion for the reason on that a little bit later. And so GU, or the galactic unit, is at 27,095.71109 light years. And once again, the absolute value is taken for that. So UU, or one universal unit, equal to 755,932,953,600 light years, has an equation equal to the velocity of light cubed times 6.66666666 times 10 to the negative 11. You scientists will immediately recognize that as the gravitational constant. It's not a gravitational constant. It is the macrocosmic time standard that has a frequency of 15 gigahertz. You divide that by 2 pi times 3.281 times to the fifth power, and you come up to this answer. Also, since there's a mathematical anomaly with respect to UU, UU is equal to the maximum expansion of time and energy times the maximum contraction of time and energy squared plus CU times GU divided by 3.281 squared. So why does 100 seconds need to be added to this equation? And the reason, in my opinion, is that UU, CU, and GU are trigonomic, are triangulated vectors that are viewed as a straight line from the perspective of a UU. GU equals the distance from our star to the galactic center, equal to 27,095.71109 light years. And we take the absolute value of that. And CU, or 1 light unit, is the distance from the galactic center to the universal center at CU equal to 300,327,558.7 light years. Forgot the 0.7. And we take the absolute value of that. So our star is in the galactic field, which means that from the perspective of UU, the triangle is now a straight line. And so UU equals the distance from the universal center, UU, to our star, equal to 755,932,953,600 light years, and we take the absolute value of that. And we can see that is true by taking U equal to the maximum expansion of time and energy, equal to 9.999999999 times 10 to the 99, multiplied by 1 times 10 to the negative 99 squared, plus the square root of GU squared plus CU squared divided by 3.281, or 1 meter squared. And so that will equal this number here, and we come to the equation for CU, and that equals UU times 3.281 squared divided by GU. And we see that GU equals UU times 3.281 squared, or 1 meter squared, divided by CU. And so we come to the macrocosmic time standard, what science calls the gravitational constant, at 6.66666666 times 10 to the negative 11. And that's equal to 2 pi times 3.281 to the 4th power multiplied by the square root of UU times CU times GU, all divided by the velocity of light cubed. So moving forward, we see that the radial volume per cubic meter of Earth is equal to the radius of Earth multiplied by 3.281 cubed. So all of this is cubed. Radius of Earth cubed times 1 meter cubed. So that is equal to 7.39696, or 983,702 times 10 to the 18 meters cubed. So with that, we'll come to energy equals at maximum power, the maximum expansion of time and energy at 9.999999999 times 10 to the 99 times 1 times 10 to the negative 99 multiplied by the velocity of light divided by the bandwidth of white light, which is equal to c squared, multiplied by the atmospheric lensing equation, equal to the atmospheric multiplier times pi divided by 2 times 1 cubic meter at 3.281 cubed. All that multiplied by the wavelength average of what I have, of the equation I showed previously. So, and we'll get to those numbers in a second. The wavelength average is equal to 805,967.4595. But we'll get back to that. So we multiply that again times the cubic radial volume of Earth, which is r cubed times 1 meter cubed, which is equal to 5.377278638 times 10 to the 41 joules per second. If when you multiply all these together, because we've already determined that this number here is equal to this here. So I'm sorry, when I was saying that, this what we went through multiplied by this equals this. You know, see, I can't really get a good view of the whole thing. That's the best I can do. So that is the equation for the energy. Part of that equation, which we didn't really look at, is an atmospheric cleansing, which is equal to 805,967.4595 meters. And that is equal to this equation here, which we see above, to this part of the equation right here. And it's equal to this.